Hey, everybody, and welcome on behalf of the President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement. My name is Linda Powell. I'm a national board member. I want to thank you for joining us for today's presentation, which is Big Break or Huge Mistake, Disruptive Creative Career Coaching for Artists. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by SAG-AFTRA Executive Vice President Ben Whitehair, co-hosting with me. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Hey, Linda, I am doing so well today. I'm still buzzing about SAG-AFTRA being named one of the 10 most innovative film and television companies of 2022 by Fast Company. Feeling the SAG-AFTRA love.
Awesome. I want to get straight to today's presentation because it's something that we can all relate to in our careers. We have spent time and money and emotions, blood, sweat, and tears refining our craft. And sometimes that big break, whatever it might mean to you, feels out of reach. Well, our guests today are going to take us through several of their methods of finding ways to disrupt and create in an industry that can feel fragmented. They're going to give us some of their tips on how to be happy and proud of our work as we navigate this and help us identify self-sabotage and create action plans for ourselves. So let's get to it. I'm going to turn it over to you, Ben, to introduce our presenters for today.
Thank you, Linda. I'm so glad to be here today to introduce our guest speakers. First off, SAG-AFTRA member and SAG Award-winning actor Alysia Reiner appeared on 7 seasons of Orange is the New Black, 5 seasons of Peabody Award-winning Better Things, 2 seasons of The Deuce, a secret upcoming Marvel project, and dozens of other films and TV shows, including the Oscar-winning film Sideways, a personal favorite of mine. Additionally, she produced and stars in the dark motherhood comedy Egg with Christina Hendricks and Anna Camp. It premiered at Tribeca Film Festival, is 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes and available on iTunes, Amazon, and VOD right now. Additionally, Alysia conceived of, developed, produced, and starred in Equity, bought/distributed by Sony Pictures Classics at Sundance 2016. Alysia loves working as a changemaker for women, received the acclaimed Collaborator Award from Women in Arts and Media, is on the board of the Gina Davis Institute for Gender Equality, on the Global Leadership Board of Time's Up, and received a Made in New York Award from the New York City Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment at the 2017 New York Women in Film and Television Muse Awards. What a rock star.
Yay. Thank you. And I want to add to my bio, because this is new. I was also just asked to join the SAG-AFTRA Sexual Harassment Committee, which I'm very excited to serve on.
Thank you.
We're gonna pull that stuff out.
I am inspired by not only your commitment to the craft in this business, but to making a difference as you do it. What a gift. Joining Alysia is Beth Handel. Beth is co-founder of Handel Group, an executive life coaching company and a 17+ year life coach, back when it was totally unheard of and not cool, who has taught thousands of clients to human better. Beth is the coach who already great top of the top CEOs, venture capitalists, and gurus go to. From Live Nations to Gary Vaynerchuk to NFL players Justin Pugh and Nolan Carroll to singer Michelle Williams, to name drop a few. The Handel method is unique, cutting edge, straightforward, brutally honest methodology that has been taught and developed at MIT, Stanford University, Yale, Columbia, NYU, and the New York public school system. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Alysia and Beth, for being with us today. With that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Alysia and Beth. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Ben and Linda. It is such a joy to be here. And I think the best way to start might be, because you just described all these incredible people that Beth coaches, including me, the biggest question I would have if I were an actor watching this is, what's the difference about coaching artists and creatives versus corporations or athletes?
Well, there's 2 sides of it. There's really not much difference because we're all human and we all have the same dark side in our version. But there's, I would say about actors in this whole world, yes, you are for sure way more creative than most people that I ever coach, for sure, and ready, and you're a bit more sensitive. You are, but I think you have to be in order to do the craft that you do, right? Like an NFL player does not need to be sensitive, right? And necessarily like a CEO, okay, they should have a big heart, but not necessarily like where you need to build your craft. So that's what I would say is we're all human. We all got the same crap. And that's where I intervene.
I love that. I will say for me, why I love Handel is it kind of is this amalgam of everything I've ever learned in a very actionable way. And I like having tools and action steps. I will be forthright. I come from the 12-step world, and sometimes I wish everybody had the 12 steps. And for me, Handel is like the 12 steps if you're not an addict. Like, it's these incredible tools that anybody can use. And it's about brutal honesty, and I think as an artist, it's all about honesty, right? It's all about like stripping away all the lies of the world, all the lies we tell ourselves, all the lies we may tell that we might not realize we tell. And that's what I love about Handel is it really calls out the lies. Beth, do you want to talk about the beginning and dreaming?
Yes, great question. Not really a question, but yes. So the first place that I take you, and we're going to do some work with you so that you can take what I give to our clients and start to work it on yourself. The most important thing is dreaming. And the issue is that human beings suck at two things. There's more, but the main two things that we suck at is dreaming. We do New Year's resolutions, which I'll tell you never to do, right? But dreaming, when was the last time you sat down and wrote out a dream for your relationship to your own self? Do you have a dream written for who you want to be as an actor in the world, or whatever it is that you want to do? So we begin with dreaming, and we break your entire life up into 12 areas because it's your whole life, right? Your money, your career, your family, your love life, your contribution and community, your friends. So we take your whole life and actually have you sit down and dream, and we suck at it. And then the second thing I'll tell you that we suck at, and then I'm going to come back to dreaming, is we also suck at, ready? The ability to keep a promise to yourself. You will keep it to your children for the most part, to your bosses, of course. But when it comes to you keeping a promise to yourself, don't you throw that one out? We do. So dreaming, and then the ability to keep a promise to yourself so we could fulfill your dream is the most important. Now, why do we suck at dreaming? So, Alysia, you want to tell them why we suck at dreaming, or you want me to?
You can tell them.
So why we suck at dreaming is, so number one, when we had a dream, someone made fun of it. Mm-hmm. When we had a dream, someone told us it wasn't going to happen. When we had a dream and it didn't happen, we gave up. So dreaming, by the time we're adults, we have stopped dreaming. If you have children and you ask your child, what do you want for your birthday or for the holiday or whatever it is, they're not going to tell you what they don't want. They're going to tell you their dream. Children are already dreaming. And then as we get older and life happens to us, and you've gotten now rejected 6 times at the first 6 auditions of your thing, you're done. Your heart is broken. You start having pity parties, and the voice, the dark side, starts to take over. And that's where I got to get you dreaming and how to dream. So, Alysia, you have the best dream.
The cool thing is you'll look at these dreams in all different areas of your life. And like, I'm going to read one of my dreams right now, but I realized something just before this meeting that I didn't even know that's really scary for me to say. Like, Beth talks about how scary it is to dream in our world today. I mean, I could spend this entire time talking to you about all the dreams that felt crushed by adults when I was a kid by auditions I didn't get, blah, blah, blah. And to keep on dreaming, and that muscle is really so important. But one thing I realized, I was doing a little meditation right before this, and I was thinking about how much I love to serve as an actor. Like that lights me up inside. And then I realized like, oh, I have a dream of like everybody being free of their old stories. Like the reason I am here with you all today is that's a dream of mine. And I have never written that down and like quantified that and really explored that. But it is a big dream of mine that like everybody be free and free to dream. Like that's one of my dreams.
I love that.
And that's why I'm here, like at this moment. And that's so scary to say because I've never said that out loud before.
I love it.
And, you know, it's for me for today, it's a lot easier for me to say to you guys, okay, one of my TV series that I'm developing goes to the next phase and we're making a show. I'm learning more about making a show. We're led by a fantastic team of experienced execs and artists. It is so much fun. I am learning so much. I love being an exec producer and actress in the project. I feel valued and appreciated financially and as an artist. That I'm like, okay, I'm an actor. I know how to do that. Like I'm a producer. I know how to do that. That's more comfortable than saying to you, I have a dream of like helping other people dream.
Yeah, beautiful. And if you can hear, so now I'm going to give you the steps to dreaming, because remember, we suck at it. So if you heard in Alysia's, there wasn't one negative. Do not put a negative in your dream. Now, I give out homework assignments to some of the biggest CEOs, public companies, of dreaming in their 12 areas, and we give the instructions and tell you no negatives. How about 95% of all my clients, and I've got high up people, right? There's negatives in on. I want to be less anxious. I want to be able to have work-life balance. I don't want to be so this. I don't want to be so this. No one, if you ask a child what their dream is, they're not going to tell you, Mommy, do not get me this. They're going to tell you what they want. But we get to adults and we're like, what do you want? Well, I don't want this and I don't want this. Okay, who asked you that? What do you desire? What do you want? So if you heard in Alicia's, there wasn't one negative thing in there. Number two, specific. You can hear she's the EP. She loves the people she's working with. You can hear the specifics. So you want to have specifics in there. Like I walked in the audition, they loved me. I got the call 15 minutes, whatever it is, specifics, and have the feeling in there too. Like, how does it feel to be the EP? How does it feel to have just got that role? So dreaming is really key. So if all you get from today is sit down and pick 2 areas or 3 areas of your life that are on mediocre ground, whether it's your body, whether, body and exercise, whether it's your business and your, being scared versus bold, write 3 areas and 3 dreams. You can do 1, but I would suggest 3 and write them so they inspire you. And then Alysia will give you the next thing, we'll teach you, because then something shows up after you dream. Right.
The one thing that I really want to say that's different from like acting class is, let's say the thing you want to dream about and work on is your relationship, like having a love relationship or your relationship with your family. This is not therapy. This is not going to be like going deep in that way. This is about dreaming. This moment is just about, what do you dream? Like how would it feel to have that love person? How would it feel? And what I will also say is, if you do that work and dream that dream and then live into it, it actually affects your career. That's the cool stuff. Like that's the really cool stuff. So I'm going to ask you, Beth, now, as if I didn't know, what gets in the way of your dreams? What voices in your head might do that?
So years and years ago, Dr. David Hawkins did a study of human beings' thoughts. And what he discovered, write this number down, people, 80% of a human being's inner dialogue, your thoughts, are negative. 80% of in your subconscious are negative crap talking to you all day long.
And I would say if you're an artist, it's probably 90%, maybe 95%.
Linda's going like this. Oh, yeah, this 95% people. Wait, and then so let's go with, all right, 80 to 90% negative. And then 95% of the 80% that's negative is the same crap you thought yesterday. It's not like you had a new thought about your mother, right? Or a new thought about, your manager or whatever it is, or about the business. So we named the 80 to 90% negative so that you can wake up to who's running your life that's not allowed to run your life. So I'm going to give you the 3 names of the voices that Alysia spoke to, and here they come. So your first voice is your chicken voice, which for sure as actors you will have. The chicken voice, right? And the chicken voice is about avoiding things. Oh, should I call him back? Oh, I don't know. That'll piss him off. I don't want to sound desperate. Oh, maybe let me give it a week and then I'll call him back. And I will giggle at you, especially since you have a dream to be a star. Like, what the frig are you waiting for, chicken? So that's a chicken, avoider. And of course, to the chicken, when you're being a chicken, you're not thinking you're being a chicken. You think you're being brilliant. Business strategy. Then you've got the brat. The brat is like a teenager. The brat is the defiant voice. The one that's like, I don't want to. You can't make me. You're not the boss of me. Leave me alone. Drop dead. Get away. So that's the voice when you're supposed to meditate, when you're supposed to journal, when you're supposed to go to class, when you're supposed to go do something. The brat goes, why? You're stressed. You should stay home and eat that cake. And you go, thank you. Like God just spoke to you. You even think it's you talking to you, and it's not. I'll tell you what they're called in a moment. Then you have the weather reporter. So you got the chicken, the avoider, the brat, the defiant one. And the weather reporter is the one that always has excuses to why you don't get something done. So I'm in Costa Rica. It's 91 degrees. All I can do is dress accordingly. So the weather are the facts. Sunny, 90 degrees. And wherever you are in New York, it's 35 degrees and snowing. So those are the facts. When you tell me, Beth, I don't have time to practice the script, I will laugh at you, because that's a weather reporter. You think I don't have time is as real as 91 degrees. And I will tell you, no, that's just your excuse. So your chicken, brat, and weather reporter are your advisory board. They are your board of directors. They will never be fired. The problem is you think they're on your team. They are not on your team at all. Their entire life is about messing you up. They do not like listening to me because they know once I start talking about them, that the person I'm coaching is going to kill them. Now, the only thing you can do is basically tell them to shut up. I'll give you an example from one of my NFL players who I'm allowed to share about. So Justin Pugh, when I got him, he was a giant, a rookie, and he was about to get cut. I saved him, got a contract for him at the Giants, and then he's now with the Arizona Cardinals, $43 million contract, about to get married, and will tell you that I saved his life. Absolutely. He sent me a text that said, Beth, I thought of you today. I had to speak at the state Senate of Arizona. And I started to giggle because I know what he's about to say. He sent me the clip. He did curse. I won't, but you'll figure it out. And he said, Beth, my chicken didn't want me to do it, but I told him to F off. That's what we teach, is you can't listen to your chicken, brat, and weather reporter. They're not you. They're not God. They're not on your team. And we teach you how to start to kill them. All right, Alysia, you got a good story about that?
Sure. For me, I'm a people pleaser. I want everyone to like me. I don't know if there are any of you like that, but I don't want anyone not to like me. So I don't, back to telling the truth, I'll avoid telling people I'm unhappy with them, because I'm chicken. I'm a total chicken. And so, what I'll do is I'll tell that to Beth. I will, we'll make a plan of how we'll do it. We make a plan for the conversation. Difficult conversations is actually part of Handel, which I love, teaching you how to have difficult conversations. That's like a later module. But the other thing that I love is once you become aware that these thoughts are running your brain, you become aware that they're lies. They're lies. Like your own head is lying to you. And I like to use the word lie because it's a powerful word. And I like to go, oh, thank you for lying. I'm not going to listen to you. Like that really helps me. Like, oh, look at that thought. Like really just being aware it's just a thought. It's not the truth. And that's a big piece of this training is like becoming aware of our thoughts, accepting that they're just thoughts, that we do not have to listen.
Yeah. So remember, one of the things we suck at, all of us, I'm not accusing you, all of us, is the ability to keep a promise to ourselves. So we have the next piece of coaching that we give, which is, okay, how do you fulfill your dream? Well, you need three things. I'll say them and then explain them, and then Alysia will definitely tell you one of hers. So you need a specific, measurable promise. You need a consequence, new thing, consequence, and you must have an accountability buddy. I'm Alysia's accountability buddy. So it's not a beer buddy, it's an accountability buddy. So a lot of your friends will not be this person because you have friends who will go, ooh, double or nothing, don't worry about it. No, you need someone like me who's like, pay the consequence. So I'm going to give you an example. So you got a specific measurable promise, you got a consequence, someone to hold you to account. A consequence wants to be something silly or annoying, that if you don't keep the promise, you have to pay it. You have to throw money out your car window to the street, not pay for a toll, not give it to a charity, $20 out your car window for not keeping that promise. That's annoying. All right, good. Alysia, what's an example of your consequence?
I love my dark chocolate so much. I am a dark chocolate girl. I have pretty much a cup of cocoa every single night. And there are these little dark chocolates that I won't name the name of because they haven't paid me to endorse them, but I have at least 2 a day. They have calcium in them. So I think I'm being healthy. And if I wanted a really good consequence, I would say, no chocolate.
So you're looking for something silly or annoying, but the whole point is, everybody, is not to pay the consequence. The point is to honor that you gave your word to something that's going to fulfill your dream, make you happy, proud, and effective, right? And given that we suck at keeping promises, we have to manipulate the chicken, Brad, and weather reporter to shut up because we're going to win and our dream is going to win and you're not. And so it's very important to have all three. And I promise you, if you take on and invent 2 to 3 promises that would make a difference in your life, that would fulfill on your dream, 2 to 3, that's all. In a matter of a month, your life will look different.
I have a question about this consequences and promises and consequences. Say I wanted to make a similar kind of promise to myself to meditate every day.
Okay.
When I break that promise, what's to keep me from not telling the person I'm accountable to that I broke the promise?
Nothing. You can totally lie and completely be a sleaze about it, but it then leaves you in the same place that wanted to make the promise in the first place because you're not doing it anyway. So if you want to keep living a life of, we call this integrity. So the definition of personal integrity that we use is the ability to keep a promise to yourself, and also, Linda, to live true to your values. So I will tell anyone, if you're gonna know you're gonna now sleaze it in line, don't even bother with any of this because it'll make it worse.
Delivering on your promise is a true high. You'll get the high for meditation and then a double high, like, yeah, I did it.
No, I love that. It's what we don't realize is every single time you don't keep a promise to yourself, you leave a piece of your soul there. It returns every time you keep a promise. You're taking your soul back, and your confidence. Personal integrity gives you self-love, gives you confidence in yourself. And that's what you need to be in the industry you're all in, to be able to get rejected as much as you have to get rejected before you get the show, right? So it's so important to have self-love and confidence in yourself. And our tools give you that back. So for sure, don't make a promise if you're not going to play, right? Don't do that to yourself.
And to what you were saying, Beth, for me, no, there is no award, there is no job, there is no nothing that will make a human happy, in my experience. I know a lot of people who are outrageously famous and miserable. And personal integrity, for me, is, in my experience, brings more joy than any job ever could. That's just the truth. I know it's really hard to believe that sometimes, but that is 100% my truth.
Integrity has been a big theme in my own life, and keeping these, the promises to ourselves and to others, certainly. The other thing that I see come up, I think with all humans, but in our community, I notice it a lot, is the self beat up, the guilt and shame that happens, right? And one of the things I love about what you're saying is, to make it annoying, make it fun, right? This isn't about punishing ourselves, but I think as performers, we often get into the self beat up of, yes, oh, see, there I was. And then we continue that tagline of, see, I'm the kind of person who doesn't keep my promises, whatever. Now, yes, knowing that we're human, we're going to have these mistakes. There will be times where we don't keep our word. What are some ways that we can practice more effective self-talk, more effective practices in our life so that we don't get stuck in the guilt and shame of that?
The one thing that I will say is that self-shaming voice, starting to recognize that self-shaming voice and then putting a consequence on that. Does that make sense? That's what I would do. If I start to think too much in that way, I have to put a consequence on that. Does that make sense?
For instance, I'm a doomser, right? I'll dooms things. I've had, my daughter's a horseback rider and oh my God, she's going to get right? And I have a promise that if I'm doomsing, I have 1 minute to shut her down or I start having to pay $10 per minute of my knot. But I'm going to give you something else to answer your question. Ben, we have Beth Handel called the Good Human Formula, which addresses guilt. So this is the good human formula. And we all were taught this when we were very young. Do you remember when you did something and you weren't supposed to do it and then your mommy's now mad at you and then you put on that face like, I'm so sorry, mommy, because you want to be back to her good graces and be a good human. So here's the good human formula. I promised X, I did Y. Plus I got an excuse, plus I feel really bad about it. Equals, I'm a good human. We got taught that if you feel bad as a young child, you're back to being a good human with your mommy and daddy. So people use feeling bad. So if someone breaks a promise to me, right? It's like, Beth, I'm really sorry. I feel so awful. I can't believe I did that. And I now know they will do it again because feeling bad takes you off the hook of being accountable. Feeling guilty leaves you off the hook for just being accountable for you blew it. I said I do X, I did Y, I suck, let me fix it.
You talked about these different areas that you look at. You look at money, you look at career, you look at family, you look at love. Is everybody's 12 areas the same? Mm-hmm. Or is it specific to people? And could you name some of the other ones?
The 12 areas of life are self, body, love, spirituality, career, money, time, home, family, friends, fun and adventure, and community and contribution.
I have been doing something very similar for 12 or 13 years now. One of my best friends and I, we call it our annual review. And we have similarly about a dozen different areas of our life. And it started, we're from Colorado. We would drive back to Colorado. And on that drive, both ways, we'd spend 40 to 60 hours. We've been doing it every year to plan out all the different areas of our life. And one of the things I'm curious about, something that we noticed was, now that looking back over a decade, we've made massive strides in every single one of those domains. What we found, though, was that often there were a couple domains, like massive growth often happened in only a couple. Like it's really about prioritizing, right? So we made progress in everything, but there might be certain things that are a priority or maybe on the back burner. And I know for performers, our community, we often have more than one dream, right? We have different priorities, or maybe it's really just about paying the bills so that we can show up to the other dreams we have, right? So I'm curious to hear what are some ways that we can think about how to prioritize all these different elements of our life.
So it doesn't matter. You pick the three that this year, if I impact my relationship to myself, if I impact my career, and I impact my spirituality, I will be a happy camper. The other things will just keep moving. But these are my top three. And then at some point, it's all malleable, right? So at some point, if one is now flying high, then we'll take another one. Like, what's happening in this area? Like, why are we ignoring your love life, right? Like, what? Right? So I'll be like, how come that isn't in here, right? So, I'm a coach, so I get to be obnoxious.
And sort of back to your question, Linda, when you do the dream, you then rate yourself. So you'll be looking at those 12 areas. You'll be like, oh, I have basically above an 8, you're flying pretty high. Anything that's under an 8, you want to look at and go like, oh, I think I want to work on this. And then you pick the 3 things that you want to work on most in a period of time.
Or the one you don't want to work on, but you need to.
Dang.
Right? Like, oh, do I have to deal with this? No.
You guys, if there are members who want to find out more about the stuff you've been talking about today, how do they find you? Where do they go? What do they do?
Where you can find us is at inneryou.coach. InnerYou is INNERU.coach. You can follow us on Instagram. You can go check out my website. We have a free newsletter. We drop free content all the time on inneryou.coach. Please go join.
Well, this has been such a treat. I am inspired and energized, and I'm optimistic that everybody watching feels the same way. Alysia and Beth, thank you so much for being here today, sharing your experiences, your expertise, your passion, your vision for making the world a better place. And I look forward to seeing everybody back here again. On behalf of the team here at SAG-AFTRA, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us, all of you watching, and for Beth, Alysia, Linda, of course, and all the staff who helped make this possible. It's been a pleasure being able to present today. And a special thank you to each of you who've been tuning in each week for our President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement live streams. If you have ideas for topics you want to see us cover, please email us, pteoe@sagaftra.org. And if you haven't already while you're here, please subscribe to the SAG-AFTRA YouTube channel right here to get updates and all the great content that we're posting. Thank you so much, everybody. You all are truly incredible rock stars. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.